At a Christmas Eve dinner, my cousin slurred. Give her time, she'll grow tired of reaching for things that don't belong to her. I nodded, raised my glass and waited. Decades later, her descendants watched documentaries celebrating my achievements as their children dreamed of futures I had carved open, while their own last name faded from public record entirely. Christmas Eve 1995. Aurora, Illinois. I was 17, and desperate to be taken seriously. I wore a red dress I found secondhand and heels that made my ankles ache. I'd practiced how to sit with good posture, how to smile without showing nerves. It was the first year I'd been invited to the adult table. In my family, that was a big deal. It meant you were grown up enough to hear the real talk, the bitterness, the fake praise, the quiet wars fought through raised eyebrows and polite insults. My parents were hard workers. My dad ran a body shop and had grease under his nails no matter how many times he scrubbed. My mom worked the laundry at the nursing home and came home dead on her feet. We had love, sure, but no money, no legacy, and definitely no name. Just hope. And I had that in buckets. I wanted to be a director, not just any director, a real one. Make films, win awards, tell stories that mattered. I didn't think it was that crazy. But apparently in our family, dreaming was the same as being delusional. Across the table sat Haley, my cousin. She was 21 in her junior year at the University of Illinois. Blonde, popular, always the center of attention. Her dad was my mom's brother, and he never missed a chance to remind us he made real money as an accountant. Haley was the family's golden girl. They bragged about her internships, her grades, her sorority. When she spoke, everyone listened. When I spoke, they waited for me to finish so they could change the subject. That night, the topic turned to the future. Uncle Bill asked me what I planned to do after graduation. I said clearly, I want to study film, direct movies. There was a pause, just a beat before someone laughed. Then more joined in. Like Spielberg, my aunt snorted. Someone muttered, she's a dreamer. I smiled. I always smiled. That's what I did when I wanted to cry. But then Haley leaned back in her chair, sipped from a wine glass she wasn't old enough to legally hold, and said it in that tone everyone in the family used when they pretended to be sweet but were really cutting your legs out from under you. Give her time. She'll grow tired of reaching for things that don't belong to her. It was so smooth, so casual, she might as well have been commenting on the weather. Everyone at the table either laughed or gave that knowing little nod. Even my mother looked away. I remember my ears burning, my throat tightening. But I didn't argue. I didn't defend myself. I nodded, raised my glass to her and said, maybe. That was the moment something inside me hardened. I didn't want to prove her wrong. I wanted to make her eat every word. I left for California the following summer. Got into UCLA. Barely. I think my admissions essay saved me. I told them I wanted to tell stories from people no one listened to. That people like me didn't get second chances, so I'd make sure I didn't need one. I had no money. Lived off ramen and black coffee. I worked part-time at a bookstore and walked 2 miles to class every day. Sometimes I cleaned houses on weekends. Other kids had safety nets. I had fire. I didn't party. I didn't date. I didn't go home for the holidays. Every free hour went into writing, filming, editing. My first short film cost $80. I borrowed a camcorder from the school and convinced classmates to act for free. I got rejected 100 times. Then I got one yes. Then another. In 2010, my film got into Sundance. I walked the red carpet in a dress I bought on clearance and heels that didn't hurt this time. The movie didn't win, but it made a noise. I was no longer promising. I was real. Haley didn't reach out. But I know she saw it. You don't forget the face of someone you tried to keep small. My second movie did better. Got picked up by Netflix. That's when I started hearing from family again. We're so proud of you. Always knew you had it in you. Bullshit. They didn't know anything. Haley sent me a Facebook message that just said, congrats. Really impressive. I didn't answer. In 2016, I wrote a script based on a family like mine. Poor girl, big dreams, poisoned by fake love and cold relatives. The cousin character was brutal, a smiling, perfect girl who twisted knives behind her teeth. I didn't name her Haley. I didn't need to. The film blew up. Awards. Panel discussions. Interviews. Someone asked me during a Q&A, "Is this based on a real person?" I smiled and said, "Sort of." She probably wouldn't recognize herself though. People like that rarely do. In 2022, something strange happened. I was guest speaking at UCLA, giving a talk to undergrads about breaking into the industry without connections. I always told the truth. How hard it is. How the odds are garbage. But I always ended by saying, the people who laughed at me aren't laughing anymore. Afterward, a student came up to me. Big eyes. Nervous smile. Said her name was Madeline. I froze. That was Haley's daughter's name. She introduced herself. "You don't know me, but you're kind of the reason I'm here." I smiled politely, trying to play it cool. She went on. "My mom used to talk about you. Said you always went too far, wanted too much. But I watched your films in high school. I saw how people listened to you. I wanted that." I asked where she was from. "Aurora," she said like it meant nothing. She had no idea what her mother had said to me. No idea what I'd carried all these years. She just saw me as someone she wanted to become. 3 weeks later, I got an email from Haley. Long too long. Said she heard I met Madeline and hoped I didn't take anything personally from the past. That people say dumb things when they're young. That she was so proud of the woman I'd become and hoped we could reconnect. She ended with, "We're family." That should mean something. I didn't respond. Instead, I called a friend at PBS. A producer. Told her I wanted to do a series on small towns and lost legacies. Aurora was my first pitch. I went back to Illinois with cameras, mics, and a full crew. We filmed at the high school, the old movie theater, the diner where my dad used to eat lunch. We interviewed local artists, teachers, old faces from the neighborhood. I made a documentary that made Aurora look like it birthed greatness, but I never once mentioned Haley's name. Not her family. Not their house. It was like they never existed. The documentary aired nationally. Madeline sent me another message. This one shorter. I didn't know all of it. I asked my mom. She cried. She won't talk about it. I didn't answer. A month later, I heard through my aunt that Haley had lost her job. Downsizing. She started a small online business, something with candles or crafts. Her daughter stayed in school, but their family was unraveling. Quietly, slowly, the way trees rot from the inside out. She faded. I grew. Every time my name rolled on a screen, every time someone clapped after one of my speeches, every time a girl said, "You made me believe I could do this," I carved a little deeper into the place Haley thought belonged to her. Her family name is barely a whisper now. Her daughter walks through the halls of my old film school chasing the same dreams I wasn't supposed to have. And me? I keep building. I keep reaching. Because I never got tired. A few months after the documentary aired, I got a package at my office in Burbank. No return address. Inside was a handwritten letter, folded, old, stained at the edges. It wasn't addressed to me. It was from Haley to her mother, written sometime in 1997, 2 years after that Christmas Eve dinner. I almost tossed it, but something stopped me. It started like this. "Mom, I don't know how to say this, but I think I ruined something." I said something I shouldn't have to her that night. About not belonging. I didn't mean it the way it came out. But I saw her face. She'll never forgive me. I don't know why I said it. I was jealous, I think. Or scared. Jealous? Of me? She kept writing. She had this spark. This scary real spark. Like she could break through anything. And I hated that because I couldn't see it in myself. I wanted to feel big just once. I wanted her to know I had something too. I read it twice. Then I burned it. Because I didn't care if she felt bad. That moment shaped my entire life. She got to regret it in peace. I had to live with it. But it did something to me. It lit something new. That fall, I gave another talk at UCLA, this time, on ethical storytelling. After the Q&A, Madeline found me again. This time she looked tired. Angry almost. "I found a box," she said, "of my mom's letters. Her journals. She wrote about that Christmas. About you." I didn't say anything. She kept going. She was wrong. I get it now. But she was also scared. She thought your success meant she was a failure. That stung more than I expected. Because deep down, part of me had started to believe that too. That it wasn't just revenge. That I'd made my name by stomping hers out. Then Madeline hit me with something I didn't see coming. "I want to tell your story." "What do you mean?" I asked. "For my thesis project. A documentary. About you. The real version." I sat with her in my office late into the night. I told her the truth. About the dinner. About the smirk. About how her mom had cut me open with that line and how I'd never stopped bleeding from it, even as I climbed higher. Madeline sat quietly, no phone, no camera, just listened. Then she said something that stuck in my ribs. She wasn't built to dream big. You were. But she saw you and it scared her. Because she saw what she could have been if she hadn't let fear win. Madeline made the documentary. She called it The Girl Who Reached. She filmed me in my studio, in old spots around Aurora. Even at the empty lot where my childhood home used to be before it was torn down. She interviewed people, my parents, my old high school teacher, a couple of industry folks who knew my work. And she asked her mother for an interview. Haley said no. At first. But something changed. She showed up last minute, at the university studio, with dark circles under her eyes and a voice that shook when she spoke. And for the first time she told the truth on camera. She said she meant what she said that night. That she didn't think I'd ever make it. That it made her feel good to say it. And then she said this. But she did make it. And I spent 20 years watching her become everything I wasn't brave enough to be. My daughter wants to tell the story of the woman I tried to shrink. Maybe that's fair. Maybe that's the only thing that ever will be. Madeline premiered the documentary at a student showcase. It blew up. People cried. People clapped. A few whispered things like, "I had a cousin like that." Or "This hit too close." It wasn't a story about fame. It was a story about pain, how the wrong word said at the wrong time can shape a life forever. A week later, Variety reviewed it and quoted one of my lines. She told me I was reaching for what wasn't mine. So I took everything she thought was hers. I mailed it, typed on plain white paper, no return address. You were right. I didn't belong at that table. I belonged at a bigger one. And now I've made sure my seat is permanent. Your daughter has a future because I didn't give up. She's talented. Kind. Better than both of us. You could have been proud of me. You could have walked beside me. But you wanted to step on me instead. So I built a life on top of you. You'll be remembered, but not for what you built. Only for what you tried to break. Now it's 2025. There are college courses that use my films to talk about power, class, and ambition. There are kids in middle school reading essays about the speech I gave last year. And yes, there are documentaries about me. I sit on boards. I run fellowships. I decide which stories get told. Her family name? Gone from the town records. The family business closed. The house sold. No plaques, no honors, no pages in local history. But my name? Carved into scholarships. Cemented in studio lots. Tattooed into the minds of every young woman who dares to dream bigger than her family tells her is allowed. I see Madeline sometimes. She's different now. Steadier. Sharper. She's reaching. And I watch her from afar, knowing she's not alone, not like I was. Because I took the hurt they gave me and used it to carve a road forward. And when someone whispers, she'll grow tired of reaching, they don't say it about me anymore. Because I reached. And I never let go.